Well, I finally learned how to play Azul. It's been on my list for ages, and I'm happy to teach it to you here in just a few minutes on Legendary Tactics. So I'm going to teach you how to play Azul using the Board Game Arena tutorial put together by Villager, and this Board Game Arena module was put together by Toon. So we're going to just go step by step through this. It's not a hard game to learn, and we'll play kind of a couple rounds to learn it. So the idea is that the King of Portugal wants to decorate the royal palace walls with pretty ceramic mosaic tiles. And so we're part of the teams making those decorations. And the important thing is that there's the player boards on the right, the factory tiles on the left. And you can see the factories here. These are represented by these circles. They also have a mix of tiles on them. So in a two-player game, you get 5 of these factory displays. In the 3-player game, there's 7. In a 4-player game, you get 9. And so it depends on the player count. And the part of the board that on our player board that we're using to actually represent the walls that we're decorating is on the right. And essentially, you can place the same colored tile once you fill in a row on the left, and I'll get into that. And every round, the factories have a random selection of 4 tiles each that are placed on them. They're drawn from a bag in real life. Here it's all digital, of course. And each color has, there's 5 colors. Each color has 20 tiles each. And in a typical round, you break it up into 2 phases. The first one is basically choosing the tiles from the factory displays, and the second phase is scoring. So we'll let the red player take their turn. Pocahontas is one of the digital opponents here. And Pocahontas chooses the blues from the factory tile here at sort of the 10 or 11 o'clock position. And essentially they choose one color and they get all the tiles of that color. So the AI took blue, and so they took all the blue tiles, all the tiles of the same color, and the remaining tiles fall to the factory floor. Okay, that's what they call that. So once they've taken those 2 tiles, then they can put them in a line, and they can choose which line they want to go to. And you can see on the left of the player card here, you have 1 tile, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And those need to be filled in order to place a tile on the right. So in this case, the AI took the 2 blue tiles and put them in the 4th row. And there's 2 more tiles that need to be there in order for that blue tile to be placed. You can't mix and match. They need to be all the same color. So once that line's started, then basically that's a commitment to blue in the 4th row. So very simply, you just pick one of the factories. You pick a color, you take all of that color, the rest go onto the factory floor, and then you place them on your lines. Now later on you can, at any point you can pick up the tiles from the factory floor. We'll touch on that in just a sec. So my other AI opponent takes black off the other factory tile here at about 3 or 4 o'clock, and the remaining blue tile fell to the floor, and now my digital opponent places the black tiles on the 3rd row. And what is, so that completes that row. And so that's a good thing. That's going to be a black tile placed on the right side wall once the round is done. So now we're going to have our own turn. Another thing just to take into consideration is that there is some bonuses that you can score. If you complete a row, if you look on the bottom right here, you can see this. If you complete a row, you get a bonus of 2 points. Now this also signals the end of the game, but you do get bonus points. If you get a column, that's 7 points. And if you get all the 5 tiles of each color, so if you get all the reds onto the board, or all the blues, or whatever, then that gives you 10 bonus points. So that's, gives you some ideas of what to aim for. So in this tutorial, it's recommending that we take the blues from this tile at 7 o'clock here. So just take those. Okay, the other tiles fell to the floor there. And now I can choose which row I want to go to. And I'm going to choose the second row. And that completes that row. Now I'm going to get a blue tile here on the right once we get to the second phase here. Let's see. So now the AI takes blue again and ends up finishing their row on the fourth row. So that's good for them. They're not stuck on that. Blue seems to be a popular color. The next AI takes blue as well. And now we're getting a lot of tiles built up on the factory floor. Now you can pick up tiles on the factory floor. The first player to do so, do you see this tile here with the weird kind of shaped 1? That's the first player tile. And the first player to take their tiles from the factory floor takes that first player token, and it goes on this bottom row. And I haven't talked about this bottom row yet, but you can see these ones are labeled -1, -1, -2, and -3. And these are where any sort of extra tiles that weren't able to be placed go. Also, the first player tile goes here, and they subtract victory points, and it's additive. So if you place one tile, the first tile is -1, the second tile is -1 again for a total of 2, then the third tile would be -2 for a total of 4, etc. So it's not a bad idea, though, necessarily. If there's a very tempting option on the factory floor, you may want to take a 1 victory point hit just to grab that first player tile. It also allows you to start the first round the next time. So we'll take the white tiles from the factory floor. We're going to take the first player tile in the penalty box here, and then we can place our tiles here. And we'll just fill up the fourth row. So that's perfect. And then my opponent takes the orange. Doesn't quite fill the third row. And then there's one orange taken by the other player. Now, it's good to note that if someone takes the first player token, after that point, there's no penalty for taking tiles from the factory floor. So, all right, we're going to take these 3 black tiles here. And we can't go in the second and fourth row because they're already full. So let's maybe fill up the... let's see if we can fill up the third row there. Yep, perfect. Okay, so these are basically the core rules as far as tile placement goes. We're going to finish off another round after this, though, just to make sure we got all the concepts. So the AI is going to take all their remaining... we're going to gradually snap up all the remaining tiles. I'm going to take an orange tile, place it in the first row, so I get that row completed. And we're in pretty good shape. We got a kind of a beautiful layout. We didn't fill row 5, but that's okay. You're not going to do it all. And now we're in the second phase. So this is where the scoring happens. And so first of all, we're going to score my opponent. And you can see isolated tiles which don't have any tiles adjacent just score 1 point. So it's fairly simple scoring that way. When they get adjacent, then you add any tiles that are adjacent, either above or below or side to side. So you can, I'll illustrate that very soon. So here's the other AI places 1 tile there, places the blue. Now, because there was an adjacent tile, that one scores 2. So, and 3 rows were completed. So you can see the first one scored 1, the second one scored 2 because of the adjacent tile. So that was +1, and then the third tile places 1. Now my scoring is going to be pretty straightforward because it's going to be pretty simple, or pretty similar to the one that the other AI just scored. So 1 point for that one because there's no tiles adjacent. Now the blue places, there's 1 tile adjacent, so that's +2 for it's 1 plus the bonus of 1 for the adjacent tile. This one is +1, and the last one is going to be +1 as well because the white tiles have no adjacent. There's no adjacency there. There's a couple of examples here on the left. So placing the yellow tile in this spot would score 3 because you've got 2 adjacent tiles. It'd be 1 for the placement, 2 and 3 for the adjacency. Same with up and down. that works as well. And you can combine them. So in this case, placing the orange tile here gives you 4 for the row across and 3 for the vertical row. So you can see it's really the only tricky part of Azul is this part is figuring out the scoring. Other than that, it's pretty straightforward. So now, as I said earlier, I scored 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. However, I did take the first player token. It is in the first box, so I do lose 1 victory point for taking that tile, and it goes back into the onto the factory floor, and the tiles get randomly distributed again, and that's basically it. But we'll just, I get to go first. We'll just finish off a little bit more. I'm going to take the 3 red tiles here and place them. I'm going to place them in a spot where there, for example. Now, if you have any rows left over, like as Pocahontas did here, it just carries over to the next round. So you don't have to, you're not clearing them away, or there's no penalties, but they would be held over to the next round when hopefully they can be completed. So in this case, Pocahontas just completed the orange line, which is great. And so did Beanie Bean, my my opponent there. And so I'm going to place these guys. So I can only place them in rows 1, 2, and 3. If you're playing on Board Game Arena, it kind of sorts that out for you, because here on the 4th row we have already filled the white tile there, so that we can't place there, and we can't place on the 5th line because of the red. The red's already there, so we can't mix and match. Okay, so we're going to put them in the 2nd row, and yeah, basically, other than that, that is the game. Now, how does the game end? As I said earlier, if a player has completed at least 1 horizontal line so just straight across, one of each tiles on the right hand side. As soon as they've completed one row going across, then the game essentially, once the tiles are placed on the left hand side, the row is completed. That would finish that row. Then it signals the end of the game, signals the last round, and then at the end, the final tiling is done. The bonuses are added up, and the final score is determined. Now I feel that I've played some Azul. I think any score kind of certainly in the 80s is pretty respectable, but 70, anything in the 70s is also pretty good. So anyway, hope this tutorial helped you out and gave you a good idea on how to play this game, and hopefully you can check out the other videos we've done on Azul here on the channel, and learn more about this great game. Thank you so much for watching. Please leave a like and subscribe if you have a moment, and we'll see you here next time on Legendary Tactics.